Good evening, welcome to North West Tonight with Annabelle Tiffin. Our top story. Pharmacies under pressure. More chemists are closing here than anywhere else in the country. More than 100 shops have closed in the region over the last 5 years, and there are fears more will follow. Also tonight, suspended MP Scott Benton resigns, triggering a by-election in Blackpool South. The Prime Minister visits Barrow and pledges £200 million to grow the local economy and nuclear industry.
It's important that Barrow remains a fantastic place for people to live, work and raise a family, because that will help keep our country safe in the long term.
Derby delight for City as the Women's Super League wows on the big stage.
And thank you, Alison, for capturing this cloudy picture in Wilmslow. Cloudy skies, there's been some rain around. How are we doing this week, though? Are we going to get improvements for the bank holiday weekend? Join me at the end of the programme.
More chemists have closed in the northwest in the past 5 years than anywhere else in the country, and it's feared more will go the same way. One trade association says the sector is buckling under existing pressures, made worse by the introduction of the government's new Pharmacy First initiative. Juliet Phillips reports.
So I'll have a quick look in your ears today, OK? And we'll see what's going on, OK?
Teresa was given an ear exam at her local pharmacy in Barrow this afternoon. She told me she'd struggled to book in at her doctor's, but here was able to get an on-the-day appointment.
Just peace of mind, just to know exactly what, because it keeps reoccurring all the time. As soon as I come off the medication, it just builds up again, and it just wants to make sure. I had a wax removed before, but it just has started up again, so I don't know the reason. And it was just comforting to know that I could, come here.
The government's Pharmacy First initiative is encouraging more people with minor conditions like Teresa to get treated at the chemist. Pharmacies receive £15 per consultation, plus £1,000 a month if they see a minimum number of patients. The owner here welcomes the scheme, but says it's adding more pressure to an ailing sector.
It's worse than I've ever known. I've been around a long time. We've had to cut staff hours, we've had to reduce our opening hours to help with that situation. Pharmacy has had no increase in its funding to accommodate for cost of living or inflation or drug price rises.
So how worried are you for the future? Because your chain of pharmacies is in debt, isn't it?
I've already had to close one pharmacy or sell one pharmacy, and that was very much because of these cash flow challenges. So yes, I am very concerned.
Pharmacy. Fight for pharmacy.
Ian isn't alone. He demonstrated at Westminster alongside other pharmacists last week. New analysis from the Fight for Pharmacies campaign has found that more than 100 pharmacies have closed here in the northwest over the past 5 years. That's more than any other region. They estimate that could have led to an additional 500,000 GP appointments. In a statement, the Department of Health has said that they have made £645 million of new funding available to support the expansion of pharmacy services. They went on to say that Pharmacy First will free up an anticipated 10 million GP appointments per year, and that it's been widely welcomed by the sector.
You go.
Lovely, thank you very much.
All right.
Juliet Phillips, BBC North West Tonight, Barrow.
Calls for a public inquiry into the case of the murdered Liverpool toddler James Bulger have been debated in Parliament this afternoon. More than 200,000 people signed an online petition claiming some aspects of the case were swept under the carpet. James was killed by 10-year-olds Robert Thompson and John Venables in Bootle in 1993. A teenage boy has been taken to hospital after an acid attack in Greater Manchester. An investigation has begun after he was exposed to the corrosive liquid on Vawdrey Road in Stockport last night. Police say the teenager's condition is stable and not life-threatening. Tougher sexual offence laws have come into force on the Isle of Man today, increasing maximum penalties and introducing specific offences, including revenge porn, upskirting and voyeurism. It also grants anonymity to people accused of sexual crimes prior to any conviction.
I think the specific issues that were in play for the Isle of Man was the recognition of the size of our community, so that when somebody is accused of what are incredibly serious and harmful crimes, if for any reason they are then not convicted, that once their name is reported and associated with that type of crime, the impact that can have.
Train drivers at Avanti West Coast are to receive a pay rise of almost 400% for overtime work. They'll receive £600 for an overtime shift, up from £125. The company says by making overtime payments more appealing, it'll encourage drivers to work the extra shifts, helping to make services more reliable. Now, Blackpool South's former Conservative MP, Scott Benton, has resigned. He was suspended as a Tory MP in April last year after being filmed in a newspaper sting offering to lobby ministers on behalf of a fake company. There'll now be a by-election, as our Lancashire political reporter Ellis Palmer reports.
Scott Benton has resigned as the MP for Blackpool South, triggering a by-election in the seaside seat he won for the Conservatives at the 2019 general election.
Delighted to be at William Hill here in Blackpool.
He had been facing a recall petition after he was suspended from the Commons for offering to lobby ministers and ask parliamentary questions on behalf of gambling investors. The Common Standards Committee said Benton gave the impression to undercover reporters that he was corrupt and for sale. It's understood the Conservatives will start the process to set the by-election running on Tuesday, the last day before Parliament's Easter break. The by-election could take place on the same day as the local elections, on the 2nd of May. What does this by-election mean for the seat? Obviously, it's quite a marginal seat. Mr Benton won it in 2019 for Gordon Marsden, long-time Labour MP. What are the dynamics of the seat and who's likely to win this time?
Well, I remember 2019, you couldn't go to Blackpool without tripping over senior politicians because this was a very closely fought contest. So as you say, it is a marginal seat and Labour will be absolutely looking not just to win it, but to win it big style.
A senior Labour shadow minister gave his reaction to Mr Benton's resignation.
It's absolutely chaos, isn't it, in the Tory party today? A divided party, divided from top to bottom, and weak leadership under Rishi Sunak.
In a statement posted on his Facebook page, Scott Benton said, "It's been an honour to represent our wonderful Blackpool community in Parliament over the last 4 years." Mr Benton warned a Labour government could be catastrophic. "I'm mindful of giving the new candidate the time and space to campaign to prevent that from happening. And it is for this reason I've made this decision at this time." Ellis Palmer, BBC North West Tonight.
Well, the Prime Minister was in Barrow today to announce a £200 million funding package for the town. He made the announcement during a visit to BAE Systems and said by that investing in Barrow, creating new houses and better transport, it would power up nuclear industries. Here's our Cumbria political reporter, Bob Cooper.
The people who run the country think Barrow is vital to our national security. That's why the Prime Minister and Chancellor were here today at the BAE Systems shipyard, speaking to apprentices. They'll be needed for an expanding programme of nuclear-powered submarine building, including as part of a defence pact with the US and Australia. The shipyard here in Barrow is at the heart of the UK's nuclear capabilities, building both nuclear-powered submarines and the new submarines that will carry the country's nuclear deterrent. With that comes thousands more workers, and that's why the Prime Minister was here today to announce £200 million of investment over 10 years to invest in housing and infrastructure.
It's important that Barrow remains a fantastic place for people to live, work and raise a family, because that will help keep our country safe in the long term. So an important day to safeguard both our future energy security and our national security.
The government is also, along with industry, putting hundreds of millions of pounds more into nuclear skills and education nationally. Investment in Barrow will be welcome for some businesses.
It sets the future for the next 20 years or more. It means everybody benefits from people in work, large and small companies. It's a once-in-a-generational job opportunities for the future. It means the next generations coming through primary and secondary schools will have guaranteed job opportunities in a wide range of manufacturing and supporting service industries.
Barrow's Labour parliamentary candidate wasn't available for interview today, but in a statement, Michelle Scroggum welcomed what she called the PM's flying visit, saying Barrow desperately needs investment after 14 years of Conservative failure to invest in the town, and promising Labour would deliver the change needed. Bob Cooper, BBC North West Tonight, Barrow in Furness.
Now, people who live in mobile homes on a holiday park in Lancashire say they face their electricity supply being cut off because the site owner hasn't paid the bill. There are 31 homes on Wyre Country Park in Poulton. Homeowners have been told that unless a debt owed of more than £33,000 is paid, they could be cut off within weeks. Eunice Muller reports.
Wyre Country Park near Poulton-le-Fylde has 31 mobile homes. More than 50 people live here. Some recently claimed to BBC Panorama they were misled into buying after being told their homes were permanent. But the park doesn't have a residential licence and all year-round living is not allowed. Homeowners are now locked in another dispute, this time over their electricity. That's because it's alleged the site owner hasn't paid the bill, and homeowners could have their electricity cut off within weeks. Jill Dodd moved here almost 4 years ago and is recovering from cancer.
The cold affects me a lot. I've got a grade 4 brain tumour, so in the end I'll probably end up with equipment, and if it's not running the electric, I've had it answer. So you're just living on eggshells constantly. It's not fair.
Sue Booth was an electricity broker before she also got cancer and bought a home here for £180,000.
So the law says that we can ask for a copy of it, so that's how I got the bills from the supplier, quite legally.
She told me her last bill was 18 months ago, but she carried on paying the site owner.
They're increasing month by month and nothing's being paid. I know that I've been paying by standing order to his company.
And it made absolutely no sense. Mike Chesworth is preparing legal action against the site owner and has been told residents cannot be supplied directly by Total Energies. Electricity North West would have to convert the site for domestic supply.
If he has a problem with us, then that's another question. But we have more than enough times communicated that we are willing to pay as long as we know what that cost is. But he's unwilling to communicate, he's unwilling to answer any mail, he's unwilling to tell us what that is.
The owner, David Welsh, denies misleading buyers and says the site's signs and sales agreements clearly state it is a holiday park. He didn't respond to questions about the electricity bill. The supply on this park was initially going to be cut off tomorrow, but after the intervention of Ben Wallace MP, homeowners have been given a temporary reprieve of a few weeks. Eunice Muller, BBC North West Tonight, Poulton-le-Fylde.
Right, let's move on to sport. Richard is here. Hello. We had the Manchester Derby, women's Manchester Derby at the weekend. Good match, but Manchester City victorious. And this is really good for them. It gives them a real strong challenge for the WSL title, doesn't it now?
Really does, Annabelle, yes. As for United, so good last season, weren't they? They've fallen away from the Champions League spots. But as you say, City in fantastic form. They won 3-1. Trail the leaders Chelsea now only on goal difference with just 5 games to go as well. So could the WSL title be on its way back to the Etihad Stadium? As I found out, many of the 40,000 plus crowd there on Saturday certainly think so. With City going for the title and United a Champions League spot, this was a Manchester derby with an awful lot at stake.
We're back on it, and I think we're going to have a good win today, aren't we?
3-0. I think it'll be hard, actually. I think it'll be a really hard game.
Come on, United!
City are rubbish and United done the best.
Well, that's simple, isn't it? That's telling me. Will you have a good game?
Not been strong enough against the top 3, and we know that. So today we need to come out with energy, fire and passion.
Passion in a derby with its own special atmosphere.
Oh, I love it. It's a great atmosphere and great to see all the young girls here supporting them.
Just love it, love the vibe of women's football, love what the women's team represent, what they bring to it.
Absolutely amazing, still going for the title, everything. Got to keep the pressure on.
And here we go. And City certainly did that. United started well and could have scored before the Blues took the lead. An offside in the build-up was missed before Jess Park emphatically found the back of the net. Quite a moment to score her first league goal for City. Park then added a second before Khadija Bunny Shaw put the seal on it with a goal that makes her City's record goal scorer. United did respond and scored themselves, but couldn't find further inspiration, with their Champions League ambitions all but gone.
It hurts to lose a derby, especially in a way where I don't feel that the first goal was out of our control and shouldn't have stood.
As for City and their player of the match, her first goal in particular was very special.
I mean, it was a brilliant pick out, to be fair, and I just thought, keep it down, and I seen it go in, and yeah, the feeling can't compare here.
So City win the day after a victory that overall was convincing. Manchester United have spells, will look back on some missed opportunities. So this is just the sort of result that will have Blue supporters thinking that this could well be the year that they go on to win the title.
Come on, City!
Do you think City can go on and win that title now?
Yeah.
100%, no doubt about it.
Confidence that with no room for slip-ups could be key in a title race that is shaping up to go down to the very last game. City looking really good, aren't they? Elsewhere in the WSL, Liverpool move above United into fourth after a goalless Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. To the men now, and Stockport County strengthened their grip on a League Two automatic promotion spot with a thumping 5-0 victory over fellow promotion chasers MK Dons. It leaves County second in the table, 4 points clear of the playoff positions. Barrow, who are sixth, came away with a crucial 1-0 win at home to Newport. Cole Stockton with the goal. It leaves the Bluebirds a place and a point behind Crewe, who drew 1-1 against AFC Wimbledon thanks to this cracking equaliser from Rio Adebisi. Now, the ex-Liverpool and Bolton player Stephen Darby, along with fellow former footballer Marcus Stewart, took part in a huge challenge this weekend for motor neuron disease, a condition they both live with. Called March of the Day, it was a hike of nearly 180 miles from Bradford to Liverpool. Yesterday, they did the final leg to Anfield, where Stephen started his career, as John Maguire reports.
Crossing the finish line at Anfield, Liverpool's motto of "You'll never walk alone" had rarely been more poignant. They'd taken on the challenge in the names of Marcus Stewart and Stephen Darby, both former professional footballers, both living with motor neuron disease. The support along the route and at the end meant so much.
I mean, Stephen had a little bet yesterday. Whoever has a little blubber first has got to donate 50 quid to the foundation. Unfortunately, it was him, so I'm 50 quid, I'm all right with 50 quid today.
For the last leg, the short distance between Everton's Goodison Park and Anfield, Stephen was pushed by his wife, the Manchester City captain, Steph Horton.
Sometimes you think, oh, why us, and why does it only happen to people like us? But at the same time, we're really fortunate that we have such a good support network, and many families don't have that when this illness comes to them.
They'd called the challenge March of the Day, but for the relay teams of friends and family, they marched for 3 days and 2 nights non-stop. In all, they would visit 19 clubs across the north of England. There was even a Saturday night appearance from Kevin Sinfield, whose endurance challenges in support of his former teammate Rob Barrow inspired this call to legs. Their aim was to raise money for Stephen's Derby Rimmer Foundation and also, crucially, to raise awareness. They believe the more people that understand MND and how it blights the lives of the 5,000 people living with it in the UK, the better chance a cure will one day be found. Famous faces from the world of football joined the walkers for the final day.
When you think what people can do and the power of what you can do and achieve and bring people together and raise money and raise awareness, I think it's absolutely fabulous.
Such a fantastic cause, and you know what, just turning up now you can just feel the love, and it's so important that we kind of raise awareness about MND, such a cruel disease.
Both physically and mentally, it had been exhausting but exhilarating, and the collective effort was hugely appreciated by Stephen and by Marcus. They face a challenge ahead like no other. But March of the Day proved so many people are willing to help in any way they can.
Inspirational stuff, isn't it? Now, the draw for the quarter-finals of the Challenge Cup will be on BBC Radio 5 Live later this evening, with Wigan, St Helens, Warrington and Leigh still in there. The holders thanks to a 26-14 victory over Featherstone Rovers. That draw will be about 8:45 tonight. In rugby union, Sale Sharks' poor run of form continued, I'm afraid, at the weekend. After the Sharks lost by 42 points to 24 at Bath, Sale remain 8th in the table and without a win in 2024, having now lost their last 4 Premiership games. Campbell Hatton, son of Manchester's legendary boxer Ricky, of course, says he'll bounce back from the first defeat of his career. Campbell lost out to James Flint on points in a Central Area super lightweight title clash. Campbell had been unbeaten in 14 fights. I'm sure he will come back, Annabelle. 14 victories before that. You know, he's already got pedigree.
Yeah.
Got his dad behind him.
Just
I'm sure he will.
It was just a blip, wasn't it?
It is.
Yeah, great. Richard, thank you very much. Now, over the next few months, we're going to be following a quite incredible challenge involving someone that we work with here at North West Tonight. Reporter and producer Mohammed Salim Patel is registered blind and has teamed up with his friend Sean, who uses a wheelchair, in an attempt to become the world's first disabled deep-sea diving duo. It's incredible. The pair are working with an instructor in Morecambe to attempt a dive-off in the northwest coast later this summer.
Every time I've mentioned it to somebody, they've said, what are you going to get out of it because you can't see? But for me, it's always a question of, well, why not?
Yeah, let's go and show the world what we can do and break down the barriers with diving.
Throughout my life, I've come across negativity, and it motivates me. I've got a degenerative eye condition, which is called retinitis pigmentosa. So I was diagnosed at the age of 10. And at that time, the doctors said to me, you're going to go blind one day. And then suddenly, when I was, 15, 16 years old, my sight started to go, and it went very quickly. And I struggled to come to terms with that. What do I do now? Do I accept this, or do I let it consume me? Through my religion, through my parents' support, it inspired me to say, no, I'm going to overcome that, and I'm going to push on and do whatever I can.
At the age of 20, 30, 32, nearly 33 years ago, I was involved in a road traffic accident. I was backseat passenger of a car. We went around the corner too fast and the car flipped over. I broke my back, my wrist, my shoulder, punctured both my lungs, and gave me 2 days to live. I couldn't see where my life was going to take me. I was thinking who was going to have me, who was going to marry me, how I was going to have children.
Where are we going to go?
Egypt.
Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in spinal injuries rehabilitation sort of home, so I met Sean there. I think because of Sean's personality, that overcomes his disability.
Everything I do, all the challenge I've done, Dawn's always been behind me. Even my kids, my youngest went from Lansdowne to Donegroats with me, same with Shana, she does all the obstacle courses, same with my son. So, yeah, we're a family of adventurers.
I think it's just normal now. Yeah. I think he comes home and just says he's going to do something crazy and it's not really a surprise.
Are you proud of him?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't tell that to him.
It's really nice and quiet, and the paths are really wide.
I've got my wife now who's my support worker. She helps me out, she describes, pictures to me or videos to me.
When he mentioned diving first time to me, I was like, how would you do that? And when he showed me, when he explained me what his vision is in his mind, I was like, wow.
When I first started looking into the diving, I contacted a number of different companies. As soon as you mentioned disability, as soon as you mentioned paralysis, there was a lot of barriers put up.
Silly excuses not to be able to do it, and I think it's because of lack of awareness. But we're both the type of people that will not accept no as an answer.
I was looking around, I was contacting companies all over the UK. Morecambe Area Divers, I contacted them, we had a meeting.
We came across Curly, and nobody's going to say no to Curly.
So this is everything about how we're going to just breathe underwater.
He's now then taking me on my little adventure. We want to spread the word that diving is for everybody, for every ability, because we are all equal underwater.
If we can show to people there's nothing to actually stop you apart from, you know, what's in your head.
As I said, we work with Salim, and I know Sean a little bit as well, and the pair of them, I mean, they're incredible, and what they want to do, they'll do it.
Amazing. Of course they'll do it.
Yeah.
It is mind over matter.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible.
Absolutely. Come on, tell us what the weather's like. You like jumping into cold water. Is it that sort of time?
It's that kind of time, I'm afraid. It's not great, unsettled. We started this week off with scenes pretty much like this. Thanks, Jean, for sending this photograph in, which sadly has led to more scenes like this in Chorley, Lancashire. So a lot of water on the ground. It stays unsettled this week. Some good news towards the weekend, and it is a bank holiday, so we'll come to that. But there will be a fair amount of rain on the way and windy conditions as well. Just how much rain over the next 5 days? Well, we are likely to see about 50 to 60 millimetres of rainfall as we head through this week. So not great for the fields, for all that saturated ground. That said, there will be some spells of drier weather. Now, we lose the rain that we've had through today. Still some heavy bursts before that clears away. Leaves us with an awful lot of cloud out and about. Though we start to get breaks in the cloud. The winds will be light, but it's not going to be chilly. Frost-free, 5 or 6 degrees will be the low. Now, it does mean that tomorrow morning, the best of the bright spells will be across more southern parts, and we should see that cloud breaking up before it thickens from the south ahead of the next front. So a lot of dry weather through tomorrow. I do think there will be 1 or 2 rogue showers, particularly for parts of Cumbria and Lancashire, and we start to get showery outbreaks of rain pushing up from the south. And with a bit of sunshine, we'll get to about 12 degrees, 54 in Fahrenheit. The breeze still stays gentle to moderate, but that is going to strengthen as we head overnight into Wednesday. And these bits of rain that you see are going to pep up some heavy downpours, all associated with this front. And you can see the isobars tightly squeezed. It's going to be a really windy day as we head through Wednesday, with low pressure still in charge, further rain on the way. So there'll be heavy rain overnight into Wednesday, leaving with windy conditions, gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour. A next band of showery rain pushes through. Now, that could well be wintry over the hills, and you could hear the odd rumble of thunder from that band of showers. Behind it, some brighter skies, but again, scattered showers. And these are also likely to be heavy in nature. With temperatures through Wednesday only about 10 degrees, 50 in Fahrenheit. It will feel cooler than that given the strength of the wind, and it stays windy on Thursday, still cool, still heavy, sharp showers, still a few showers on Friday. The bank holiday weekend, actually signs of improvement. Come on.
Well, Sunday looks okay.
Sunday, we'll be doing Easter egg hunts.
I mean, yesterday it was a bit like, well, was it just a one-off until next Sunday?
Well, I mean, yeah, a little bit. Saturday's not too bad. Sunday looks pleasant.
Lovely.
We'll keep it like that.
Fingers crossed. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
Take care.